I'm your host Bob, and today we'll be reading What Everyday Skill Becomes Suspicious If You're Too Good at It. Don't forget to give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Remembering someone else's schedule. I've had people get a little freaked out when I ask how specific appointment/task is going, when I remember telling them about it days prior. I used to be a dispatcher for Home Hearing Fuel in Juneau, Alaska, and when I meet people, I'd say, "Oh, you live such and such street." I'd get an uncomfortable silence from them, and I have to tell them, "We deliver your oil, I work." Not me, but someone I know once mentioned to me back in their high school days, they were suspected of being a snitch because they would always be inclined to leave right before the bus happened. It wasn't that the guy was a snitch. He'd say sometimes he just got a feeling, or he knew when a party was just dead. Some sort of sixth sense for this. Every time he got about to leaving, his buddies would usually follow suit, since they were usually the ones dealing anyways. Being a very persuasive salesperson. If someone is too convincing, I just assume they're trying to scam me. The removal of stains. I don't really think it's an everyday skill, but being able to tell someone by the sound of their footsteps. When friends or family approach my door, I know who's about to knock. I love creeping them out by saying, "Come in, name here." Eavesdropping. I just passively listen to other people a lot when I'm alone, even if I'm doing something else. It gets really embarrassing when you bring up information you heard from their conversation, forgetting that you weren't involved, when you laugh at a joke said by someone across the room. Trying a noose. At basic training, I got tasked to help the drill surgeons create the haunted house battalion competition. A long story. My drill asked if anyone knew how to tie a noose, and I whipped out a perfect one in only a few seconds. He just looked at me and said, "Private, what the heck?" A couple of years ago, I locked my keys in my car in a Walmart parking lot. I went and asked if they could help me. Two employees came out with a jimmy. The one guy made a bet with the other that he could unlock my car in under a minute. He then proceeded to unlock my car in 15 seconds. I told him thanks. He must have a lot of practice, to which he laughed and walked away. Genuine kindness. My father was such a good soul. People were suspicious about his kindness sometimes. I had a boss who had pretty much Mr. Rogers. It took a while to get used to it. We work with each other sometimes, and I still occasionally think he's narcissistic, when he's definitely not. Walking silently. It's always a good skill to be able to be quiet in a moment's notice, but do it too well and you start peering behind people and freaking them out. "How long have you been there?" type things. Maintain composure during crisis. Do it too much and people think you lack sympathy and are a sociopath. Knowing where people keep items on the person. Friends will be looking for the keys or phone, and I'll know what jacket pocket he left it in. Remembering names. "Oh, hi Beth, remember me? We sat on a bench together for like 5 minutes about a year ago." Gets Mace. Whistling. I can whistle the Android text tone and it freaks people out. Running in high heels. Removing clothes off an uncooperative toddler. Locating children. I look at license plates. I don't know why, but it's every day for me. But for some reason, I pretty much had the license plate of the girl I liked memorized. It was easy to remember, and we worked the same place together every day, so I saw it a lot. One time I almost slipped and said, "Hey, we're driving out in today," and almost mentioned that Chuck's license plate looked just like hers. Cleaning blood from things. Every woman, especially moms, should have some ability here, but be able to help someone clean up after an accident or injury and get surprised looks on both sides. Hubby's in the EGA branch of the US military. Within a month of marriage, his whole shop was bringing bloodied uniforms to our house. Ouch. Football, kitchen accidents, but thank God for baking soda. I have very fast reading comprehension. People never believe me when I say I've read it already. It gets frustrated that I don't take longer. I can't do simple math, but I read like lightning. I'm also very good with card handling, so everyone suspects I cheat at poker. I encourage that because it keeps their eyes on my hands and not on my face. Noticing details about people. I have moved around a lot and I worked in a lot of industries, one being in tourism. If I'm a tour guide and I notice a particular brand of clothing and ask if they're from a particular place, and right, it's me being observant and it leads to a fun discussion. If I do the same thing in getting coffee, it's considered creepy. Being able to measure somewhere between 5 to 9 inches using some arbitrary references on your hand. The ability to get into locked buildings. I've had my mom ask if I'm a burglar, and also said I'm useful for when she's locked out. Being able to count money really fast. Knife sharpening, unless you're a chef. Edit, yes I get it, people, butchers too. Anything borderline fancy with the twirling knives, I carry and use my pocket knives quite often, and I picked up ways to easily handle them. People either assume that I'm a full weeb or a serial killer. Smiling. Being able to convert between ounce and gram. I can easily convert $100 bills into grams. I once had a neighbor catch me while I was taking groceries out of my car and asked if I knew how to open locked doors, as they locked themselves out by mistake. Went over to the door, took out a credit card, shimmied my way in no more than 5 seconds. Probably was bittersweet for them. My boss locked herself out of the shop last week and I did this. Opening a bottle without a proper bottle opener. No, I definitely don't practice this multiple times a day. So by an incidental combination of being a gearhead and a one-time tow truck driver, I'm a little more observant when it comes to cars than most. I also have a knack for numbers. I memorize things unintentionally. I've stopped mentioning it to people that I saw their car somewhere or other. The movies, for example. It's awkward explaining that I know your plate and can spot your POS Sentra from across the parking lot. Lying. Being a good liar means you don't raise suspicion. Knowing the precise limits of what the law requires or prohibits. Interrogating someone without them knowing. I was at a school thing and one of my girl classmates really liked the guy, but was too nervous to talk to him. She asked me to figure out some of his info. I ended up getting his first name, last name, school, hobbies, and grade level. She was happy, but more than a little creeped out how I casually did it. Apparently knowing drug names, I once told somebody they can mix ibuprofen and acetaminophen because they don't mess with each other, and they thought I was a drug dealer for the longest time. Due to my job, property management, and me being a flake, used to lose/forget my keys a lot. I've gotten really good at quietly breaking into houses and apartments. As a guy, being good at undoing a brow with one hand while making out with a girl. If you do this too smoothly, she may suspect that you're a player. Best to fumble it clumsily until it pops open. But don't fumble so much that you win the moment. It's a delicate balance. Shuffling cards. Him, wanna play cards. Me, sure. Gambit routine with lightning speed. Him. Not for money, right? Sex. If you're too good, people assume you've had a lot of it and are, therefore, a slut. If you're good enough, they won't have the brain power to question anything. Picking up on small details and remembering them for months. My friends are always like, how did you possibly remember that? Butchering. I work professionally with raptors, the feathered kind, not the clever girl kind. And for a while I was prepping on average 15 quail a day, from frozen thawed to plucked and gutted and portioned. It's useful in the kitchen too, for ducks, turkey, chicken. I've also processed venison before. Then when people find out that I work in a landfill, I fly the raptors to keep the gulls out. They are suddenly afraid to make me mad. Being calm. People accuse you of being cold if you're not as agitated as they are. Recognizing faces. I was approaching the check-in counter of a hotel I didn't remember being in before when the desk clerk welcomed me by name. I was visibly startled. His coworker explained he's got a freakish memory. I checked later and had been there 3 years before. In this job with 1,000 of faces he sees a year, that's a little disturbing. I work at a university where students lock their keys in the cars on a daily basis. If you're unlocking cars 5 to 10 times a week, every week for years, it's an everyday talent. By the way, one of the hardest cars to break into for me was an old Saturn. Something about the way the door fit into the frame of the car made it very difficult. Getting over bad feedback/negative events. I have a rule that if something bad happens at work, I can be upset for 20 seconds and then move on. Not let it bother me, except to fix it if needed. People seem to think that it makes me a bit psychopathic. Unintentional memorization, passwords, pins, garage door codes, zip codes, just random numbers. I remember all, but for the life of me, I cannot remember your name, even if you just said it 2 minutes ago. I once went to a science convention thing, and they had a rectoscopy simulated there. It was this camera snake cable thing you feed into a butthole in the machine, and a screen showed a fake camera feed from the tunnel column. I got such a high score that the woman at the booth said, "You must have done this before." Edit. I guess it's called a colonoscopy. Anyways, most embarrassing high score ever. A lot of my male friends were surprised to see how good I am at removing blood stains. When they asked why I'm so good at it, I struggled to find euphemism instead of answering directly because I know most of them find menstruation talk gross. But at that moment of pause made them even more freaked out. Typing. I'm definitely going to say typing. I type at a little over 150 words per minute. I've been repeatedly accused of faking it, which sounds funny until it's your coworkers and boss saying it, calling your work into question. Edit, holy cow, thanks for my most upvoted comment. To answer a couple questions, I'm a writer. I use a QWERTY keyboard. I've been typing a minimum of 3 hours a day for the past 16 or so years. My typing speeds have been measured in various tests for work and school. The lowest coming in at 138 about 4 years ago, and middling about here 6 months ago at 154. The highest I've scored on a reliable test was 157 last year. Typing speeds like mine aren't all that uncommon. Certainly not as much as they used to be, nothing special. I just type a lot. I find it much weirder when people that fight typing fast, unlikely. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.